Hello everyone, it's lovely to be here. I'm really sorry, I'm really nervous. I'm just going to put it out there because I've never done this before, so I'm sorry if I'm nervous. So yeah, like Martin said, Paul's left it to me, foolishly, because he's away. So he does send his apologies, but he can't be here. So the first update really is about EPC changes. So I'm sure you all know that the EPC register is an open register, but lenders are all asking for copies of the EPC certificates to be provided in mortgage applications now. So if you're looking to remortgage anytime soon, then make sure you've got your EPC certificate up to date. Although it seems a long way off yet, by December 2025, all rental properties are going to need to have an EPC of C or above for all new tenancies. So at the moment, only 40% of homes in England meet this standard. Lenders are trying to help the government's green schemes by, with regards to initiatives that they're offering. So for homes which have an EPC of A or B, they're offering initiatives such as cashback or lower rates. Some lenders will allow a mortgage application to go in as long as the EPC is brought up to an E at completion. So if you've got a property that isn't yet an E, but you've got works planned, as long as it's an E at completion, then that should be fine. If you can't get it up to an A at completion, so if there's sort of bigger works that need to be done, then there are light refurb products available. So the lender will give you 75% of the current value of the property. You would need to tell them what the improvements that you are doing and what the costs of them are. And then once the work's done and the EPC register is updated, then they would just transfer you into a standard buy-to-let product. On the right there, I just put a little table of some, I suppose it's a bit silly to say easy things, but ideas of things that can help to bring the EPC up. So like swapping to a condenser boiler and insulating the walls. With regards to remortgages, the market's good. I'm not going to read through like the figures because it's probably a bit boring, to be fair. But I've put some of like the most recent interest rates at the moment. Property values are increasing, which is obviously good for landlords. House values generally we're finding are being driven by first time and next time buyers buying generally residential properties. Find they tend to make emotional decisions as opposed to business decisions, so they're generally more likely to offer more, and therefore house prices are going up slightly to secure the properties that they want. So in turn, the lenders' house price indexes are increasing. So if you have currently got property, it serves as a perfect opportunity to raise money on the property that you've already got because the house prices have gone up, so the loan to values will generally have come down a bit. Or if you don't need to raise any money, then you could take stock of the portfolio that you've currently got and move them onto the lower rates that are available at the moment, and maybe look at slightly longer term fixes. Holiday lets and Airbnbs. So after the last 2 years, lots more people are going on holiday in England. So there's a bigger market for holiday lets and Airbnbs. There are more products for private individuals and limited companies coming back to the market. One important thing to take into account is that lenders will generally calculate rental coverage differently. So some will calculate as if it's a normal tenancy, but some will calculate it on a holiday let basis. So they'll average sort of high season, mid season, low season, as opposed to what it would be on a standard AST. We advise if you were looking to increase the size of the loan that you need, then it is a good idea to use a lender who will work off the actual holiday let income as opposed to the sort of estimated standard rental income. And just to take into consideration that with holiday lets and Airbnbs, there's an additional cost of the cleaning and stuff during the changeovers. That seems to be something that is sometimes overlooked when sort of pricing these things up. With regards to limited company products, they're pretty good. If one thing to note is that if you haven't already set a limited company up for your properties, then maybe consider how many directors that you'll be looking to put into the limited company. So look at what products are available, because sometimes if a limited company's got more than 2 directors, then there's slightly less availability on the market. So there are better rates available for SPVs and limited companies with just 2 directors. Lenders are being more flexible around non-standard construction properties. So, for example, State Bank of India are now doing non-standard, including prefab. Lendinvest have come to the market and they've got some good products. So they are quite unique in that they don't ask for new personal guarantees if you've already been given advice and signed the personal guarantees. So this could save around £200 to £300 per director. So if you've got quite a big portfolio and each director's having to do it, it is quite a good saving. I try to make this not look as boring as it looks, probably. And I don't want to sound like a mortgage advisor. But as you all will be aware, the base rate has increased. So the standard variable rates have gone up with that. So it was basically just to point out that sometimes people don't remortgage because circumstances have changed and they feel that maybe they can't remortgage, or like I mentioned before about EPCs, if the property isn't up to the mark with the EPC, possibly not, but you can do a product transfer with the same lender. With a product transfer, they don't do any additional underwriting, they don't do another valuation, so there's no additional documentation. So it's quite a good way of securing a better rate without really any of the headache, I guess. So just as an example, the mortgage works on an interest-only £100,000 borrowing. Their current SVR is 5.24%, so that will be £436.67 a month. On a 2-year fix with no fees, they're offering 3.09%, which would save you £179.17 a month. And then on a 5-year fix at 3.29, it's saving £162.50 a month. So it's definitely not to be snuffed at for, I guess, very little work going into it. Again, just so that I could look at sort of a couple of different lenders. This is with BM, so their SVR is slightly lower at 4.84%, which would be £403.33 a month. But with them on a 2-year fix at 3.15, you'd be saving £141. And on a 5-year fix, which interestingly with them comes with a better rate, you'd be saving £155 a month. So, like I say, for very little headache, it's definitely, I mean, it's always good to save money. So it's something to look at if you are on the SVR at the moment. This, I think I got a little bit geeky when I was making this. So this is a rental income analysis, which TMW did in Q4 last year. So I've put a few of the key facts on there, but basically it shows that the annual gross rental income falls mostly between 20 to 49,999,000. It shows that rental income generated per property has increased by 5% on the previous quarter, so that's quite good. 39% of the landlords surveyed advised that they plan to increase their rents in the next 6 months. So I guess it's understandable. The highest average rental income is being achieved with property in Yorkshire and the Humber. I think, personally, doing my job, especially talking to Paul, a lot of the time he would have done all of his business round where we lived because he would go to the houses and it was just more of a hassle if they lived far away. I do most of my stuff online and not many of my clients live next to me because I can do it anywhere. So I suppose I'm seeing a lot of people buying in places where they wouldn't normally and they've just sort of found a bit of a gap. And a lot of landlords ask me as well and I'm like, oh, I don't know. Ask someone who knows. The North East is actually falling below the national average for rental income generation, and HMOs are bringing in the highest average rental yield. And then just at the bottom, landlords with buy-to-let mortgage borrowing continue to achieve higher average gross rental income than landlords without buy-to-let mortgage borrowing, based on this study. And then this is tenant demand, so done by the same people. So landlords were asked, in your opinion, what's happened to tenant demand in the last 3 months? 56% reported that they'd seen an increase in demand, and only 4% reported seeing a decrease. So, and landlords with larger property portfolios continue to achieve the most positive tenant demand index scores, which it's calculated using that there. And then this last bit is probably preaching to the choir, but we're seeing a lot more of lenders asking for documents when submitting mortgage applications that might not necessarily have been asked for before. So when applying for a remortgage or a purchase, lenders are always asking for proof of the current rental income being disclosed. So they're asking for SA 302s and tax year overviews, even if they're not needed for the applications. So I guess just like about keeping your books in order, expect that to be asked, because a lot of the time people are like, well, why do they need them? But they're just making sure, I guess, everything's above board. But that is all from me / Paul. Has anyone got any questions? Or not? That's fine.
Thank you very much.